Welcome back to Mulberry Branch Farm, y'all. As you can tell, we are in the barn. We've got a lot to do out here today. So it's been about 2 months since you guys were with me to see how we prep our does when they're getting ready to kid. If you missed out on those, go ahead. I'm gonna have a card up here at the top. Go ahead and click it if you wanna see how we prep our does. You also get to see a little bit of it today because I've got a lot to do out here. So Pinky is about a week away from her due date. Anybody knows anything about goats knows that for these miniature breeds, their gestation is 145 days, give or take 5 days in either direction. So that technically means that tomorrow is 7 days from Pinky's due date. So we could potentially be within 2 days of her delivering. Now I don't think she's that close just because her udder hasn't quite exploded yet. I thought I saw her mucus plug leave last week and her ligaments are still a little tough. I can feel the babies though, guys. When I'm rubbing on her belly, I can feel them on that right side where the babies sit because the stomachs and everything sit on the left side of the doe. So we're gonna be going through a lot of that. We'll be pulling in all of those does that have already kidded to just see if their hoofs are doing okay. We're gonna do a quick FAMACHA score because with spring, we're starting to cut back on our hay because our pasture is coming in. The only bad thing about that, guys, is when you put them back on pasture after winter and it starts to warm up, it's like all the parasites and the bacteria come out to play. And with them eating grass that's a little bit lower, we're still offering hay because I don't like them to really graze on the bottom parts. I almost like to let it grow up about a foot before I really like to let them graze, but they want it so bad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do my part as a goat herdsman and do the FAMACHA scores and see just how parasite ridden they are already. Anybody that's not familiar with FAMACHA, it is a scorecard that shows how to check to see if your goat is anemic. So, and it's usually by checking this right there, that pink part. Sorry guys, it's kind of gross, but the pink part down here under the eye, if it's a specific color, it could go any from like a nice bright healthy red to white where the goat is extremely anemic and needs to probably have a fecal done right away, because what's the point of going ahead and treating your goats for parasites and worms if you're not quite sure what you're treating? Because whether we like it or not, guys, some of the dewormers that are out there on the market are geared towards specific parasites and won't hit all of them. If they come up low, I'll probably do a dual because I do know what lives in our soil here because I've had lots of fecals done at my local veterinarian office. So if I have anybody that comes up with a low FAMACHA score, which I'll make sure to show you guys how we do that, then I'll probably dual treat with Sidectin along with Panicure. I can use it on all my does, even the white Panicure, that paste, which I think is a bendazole type dewormer, if I remember correctly right off the top of my head. But Raven's the only other doe that's due after Pinky this year until we start breeding again in the fall time. And she's well past the first 50 days of her gestation, so she should be safe to have that. But I don't know how her FAMACHA is going to come up. I feel like I looked at it the other day while she was out there and it looked pretty low. So we'll just have to make sure that we're watching that. So you guys can see behind me too, it's been a busy winter. My workbench is a mess. Everything in here is a mess. I've got all kinds of things where I've cleaned up bedding and brought it through here. And then I've got empty feed bags back here. So I did my spring cleaning indoors yesterday. I'm doing my spring cleaning out here today. All right, so I think we've prepped enough. You guys can see behind me, I've got my little rolly cart here that kind of helps me pull around the doe if I need to with all of my stuff. So I like to get a little bit prepared before I bring in my does. So I've got all of my supplements here and dewormers, which I've got Sidectin with my little gun that's attached to it. You guys need these if you're ever going to be doing hoof trimming, because most goats will struggle when you try to trim their hooves. And if they pull at the wrong time, they're gonna cut themselves. And they're probably going to make you cut you. So if you've got gloves on, you don't have to worry about one of those issues. Got my trimmers. I've got everything like hydrogen peroxide and iodine. I also have blood stop in there too. If I do nick a hoof, if anybody's ever done that, you know, it's like clipping a dog's toenail too close or cutting our own fingernails just a little bit too close. It's going to bleed and it's going to be really, really painful. And we've also got some things to clean out the hoof with in case they've got dirt compacted in there. So let's get to it, guys. Maintenance day. at her hair back here, it's also the time for lice. So we're looking for lice just to see, because it can spread really fast, and we'll probably pre-treat everybody anyways, just because it's springtime. But I have noticed here with Miss Willow, she started out with twins. Then we had one pass. The poor thing jumped into a bucket that it could easily have gotten out of and somehow drowned. So she's down to a single, and I've noticed that the single is favoring one side of the other. So the other one's kind of meaty already. I've been trying to milk it out as much as I can when I can remember to, or notice that it's not even. And the big kid has been doing, the single's been doing a good job about keeping her on both sides. But I have noticed on one side now, she's a little meaty and lopsided. So we're gonna start milking here this week. So I'm hoping I'll be able to correct this, but I'm gonna go ahead and just milk out this side. And they don't really like it, guys, so be prepared to see a struggle. Guys, it's already meaty. Ugh. It's not good. Holding a lot of it. One of the things you can do for this is just make sure you massage to make, get out of there, Django, to encourage her to let her milk down. And I don't see any clumps in this, so I'm assuming she doesn't have mastitis. She's not really sensitive. She's not warm to the touch. There's no clumps. There's no smell, no blood. So I'm assuming she doesn't have mastitis, but you just never want to ruin a good udder if you can avoid it. So. Good girl. So she's very, very light. Look at that, guys. She got a little bit of pink in there, but she's a little lighter and I like to see her. So I'm going to give her a double dose of Panicure and Sidectin. So stick with us. So dosage is really important, and for a lot of these animals, it's due and based on weight. So, oh boy, I'm all washed out. So we'll probably do a video later on how to take weight on your animals. Dairy goats, I know they've got like a tape that does it, and I've had other people that have scales. So for her, she's going to be treated with Sidectin and Panicure, but it's just really important to know your dosages for your animals so that you don't cause more harm than good. So it's really nice too, because you guys will see here in the background of the mess right there, those are my record books, and I have a page in there with dosages for specific weights that are geared towards the weights of my animals. So it's really important to have that on hand. Important to know, because you don't want to overdose on anything, because it can hurt them. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up with Raven here, and then we've got some more things going on, guys. Stay with us. Pinky's coming in here really soon, but we've got one more thing that we've got to do. Look at them, babies. If you'll move around at this point, guys. Oh, and there's one right there. They're moving. There are squirmy wormies in there. It's okay. It's all right. Kisses. So Pinky's getting a couple more. I know, you're so beautiful. Pinky's getting a couple more things than the others. So she is getting a dewormer because she's a little light. This dewormer won't hurt her babies at all. She's getting some red cell in this syringe right here, which is good right before birth anyways, just to get that blood count higher. And it'll help with the iron in her system. And we got probiotics just to make sure, yes, that rumen works really good while she's pregnant. And then selenium and vitamin E, because we're deficient in our area. So it's important to give it. I know. And she's a lover. She's a lover. So now we're probably going to go ahead and move her over into a kidding stall, because, and I know, she is a lover, guys. And because we've got some other things going on over here in our regular kidding area, which you guys have seen me set that up before, because of weaning, milking, and we've also got a 4-H project in there. it's a little bit different. So we're gonna move her to one of our original kidding stalls in the main part of the barn for her to stay as she's awaiting her labor. And she is bred to Lego. I don't think you guys have seen Lego. He's a little buckskin. So, you getting ready, Mama. I can't wait, guys. I get so excited for babies, and she's such a good mommy. So things didn't really work out the way I wanted them to today. I was able to get all of my does situated with pedicures, deworming, if they needed it, and a lot of them needed it, guys. I looked at their records, and some of them haven't been dewormed in 3 or 4 months because they didn't need it, and they needed it now. So it kind of dampens my plan on milking them tomorrow. The reason for that being is I use chemical dewormers, and I'm almost changing my mind on using them because of this reason. So anybody that's ever milked a goat and given a chemical dewormer knows that there's a withholding time. It's the same for market animals, guys. If we give them some type of chemical, there's usually on the label a withholding time for slaughter and a withholding time for milk. So because I'm using 2 different dewormers, the longest is 8 days. So I'm just waiting on everybody for 8 days before I milk because I won't be able to consume it. I could probably give it to my, you guys like the eggs? I was collecting eggs. So it looks like I might be putting a hold on that plan, but we will be pulling blood tomorrow. Things just kind of got away from me today. I'm tired. I'm mentally exhausted with everything that's been going on. So tomorrow is another day, and I'll think about pulling blood tomorrow. So let's see what we can get done tomorrow, guys.